Welcome children, take out your English literature book, Longman Impression, Revised Edition, Part 6, Chapter 8, The Fun They Had. Before explaining this chapter, let me tell you that this story is a science fiction story based on the education system of India, which is yet to be appear in the year 21,057. Now let's begin the story. Margie even wrote about it that night in a diary. On the page headed 17th May 21,057, she wrote, "Today Tommy found a real book." Now Margie, who was she? She was a very little girl. And every day what was her habit? What is her habit? Her habit is to write diary. Now on that day also she wrote a diary. In that day she has given the heading that it was 17th of May 21,057. Means it is a fictitious story, as I told you earlier. That means it is yet to appear. Now she has written the date on her diary page. And what she wrote, that is, that day Tommy had found a real book. It was a very old book. Margie's grandfather once said that when he was a little boy, his grandfather told him that there was a time when all stories were printed on paper. Now, they found the book. The book they have found, it was a very old book. And Margie's grandfather had once told him that when Margie's grandfather was a little boy at that time, and there were stories. The stories were written on printed paper. They turned the pages which were yellow and crinky, and it was awfully funny to read words that stood still instead of moving the way. Now what happened? They turned the pages. Now all the pages had turned, as it was very old. The story describes about that they are reading a very old book, as so the pages had turned yellow and crinky, and it was very funny to read the words because all the words were still instead of moving the way they were very much supposed to be on a screen. Now in screen what happens, that means they always use computer screen. They read, that means they read it the modern books. That means they read books. What they read, they wrote books on the that is on the online books they read. Now and then when they turn the pages back to the page before, it had the same words on that it had when they had read the first time. Now what happened? They turned the pages back to the pages now before, and what they found? They found the same words were there on it, and they had read it the first time. Gee, said Tommy, what a waste. Now Tommy just made a fun and said that what a waste. When you are through with the book, you just throw it away. Now Tommy just made fun of Margie and said that when you study, when you take your book, you just throw it away. I guess our television screen must have a million books on it, and it's good for plenty more. Now Tommy said that their television screen, what it consists of? It consists of millions of books and plenty more things. I don't throw it away. Now Margie said that she doesn't want to throw it away, the book, because it was a real book. Now same with mine. Now same thing happened with him also. Now said Margie, same with mine. Margie also said that same thing happened with her also. She was 11 and hadn't seen as many telebooks as Tommy they had. Now Margie, she was a 11 years old girl, and she hadn't seen many telebooks as Tommy had said. He was 13, she said. Now she said that she was 13. Where did you find it? Now she said that where did you find it? Means Margie is asking question to Tommy that where did Tommy found this book? In my house, he pointed without looking because he was busy reading in the attic. Now what happened? In my book, he said, and he pointed it without looking because Tommy was busy in reading the old things. What's this about? Now he asked that what is it about? School, said that school. Margie was scornful, and we became very scornful. Oh, school? What's there to write about? School, I hate school. Now Margie became very much angry. She said that, what? What's there to write about school? And I hate school. Margie always hated school, but now she hated it more than ever. Now Margie, what happened? Margie was a girl. She hated school, and then what happened after hearing it? She hated the school more than ever. The mechanical teacher has been giving her test after test in geography. Why Margie hated school? Because the mechanical teacher always used to give her test after test in geography, and she had been doing worse, and she used to do very worse in her lesson, until her mother had shaken her head sorrowfully. Until her mother, what she used to do? She used to shake her head sorrowfully and sent for the county inspector. And then what happened? Her mother had sent for the county inspector. Called that. He was a round little man with a red face and a whole box of tools with dials and wires. Now see, the county inspector, what type of person he was, his description is given. What type of man he was? Very round little man. He had red face and he carried a whole box of tools with consisting of dials and wires. He smiled at Margie and gave her an apple. Now the county inspector looked at Margie and gave her a smile and then gave an apple to Margie. Then took the teacher apart. Margie had hoped he would know how to put it together. Now Margie, what she hoped? She saw that he would know how to put everything together. But he knew how all right. But what he knew that how all right. And after an hour or so, there was again. And after an hour, what happened? After 1 hour, what happened? There was again. Large and black and ugly with a big screen on which all the lessons were shown. Again, what happened after 1 hour? She could see that there was a large, black and ugly big screen was there with all the lessons were showing and the questions were asked. That wasn't so bad, saying that it wasn't so bad. The part Margie hated most was the slot where she had to put homework and test paper. And the part Margie hated, what was it? It was a slot in which she had to put the homework and even the test paper. She always had to write them out in a punch code. Now, how she had to write them? She always had to write them in a punch code. She had made her lesson when she was 6 years. She had learnt her lesson when she was 6 years old. And the mechanical teacher calculated the mark. And the mechanical teacher, what happened? He calculated the mark in no time without wasting any time. The inspector had smiled after he was finished and patted Margie's head. Now, inspector, what happened? He smiled and after finishing his work and then patted Margie's head. He said to her mother, "It's not the girl's fault, Mr. Jones." Now, he said to now the inspector told her mother that it's not the girl's fault, Mrs. Jones. I think the geography sector was geared a little too quick, saying that I think this geography sector, it was geared little too quick. Those things happen sometimes. These things, sometimes it happens, these types of things. I have slowed it up to an average 10-year level, saying that means the inspector, what he had done, he had slowed it up to an average 10-year level. Actually, the overall pattern of her process is quite satisfactory. Actually, what happened? He had done the overall pattern of the progress. It was quite satisfactory, and he patted Margie's head again. Again, what happened? The inspector patted Margie's head. Margie was disappointed. Now, Margie, she was very much disappointed. She had been hoping that would take the teacher away altogether. Now, she was hoping that it would take the teacher altogether. They had once taken Tommy's teacher away for nearly 1 month. Now, because once what happened, they had taken Tommy's teacher for nearly 1 month. Because the history sector had blanked out. Why? Because the history sector, it was totally blanked out. So she said to Tommy, now she said to Tommy, why would anyone write about school? Now Margie tell me that why anyone would write about school. Tommy looked at her with very surprise, with superior eye. Now Tommy looked at Margie with very superior eye, because it's not our kind of school, silly. Now Tommy replied that it was not the kind of school that they had. This is the old kind of school that they had hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Now, Tommy explained that the book is describing about a old kind of school that used to occur hundreds and hundreds of years ago. He added loftily, pronouncing the word carefully century. Now, whatever loftily he added, pronouncing the word carefully, that was this type of school used to happen centuries ago. Now, take out your diary, write chapter 8, the fun they had, 3 pages, explained, homework, revise it. And with this, I am ending my today's class. Goodbye.